Okay, great, great, great.
Okay.
Yeah. So instantly the facial expression has changed.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm just thinking, सुकून में आ गए, like relief होके आ गए.
no, I was talking about your facial expressions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, let me share my
I
screen. Uh-huh.
almost cannot see your canines now.
My
Almost.
canines?
Yeah.
Are they prominent?
No, I was trying to say that, before the recording was turned on, you were a vicious predator, and now you're like a cute little cat. So yeah, that's what I was implying.
Little cats also have canines. All right.
But not as okay, yeah, yeah.
Clearly you don't want a cat. Cats can
I think they're useless, but okay, let's get on with it.
No, they can be quite sweet. All right. So cover letter, very similar concept. I see a lot of cover letters. The biggest mistake that I see is that they're like way, 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 way too long. This is the ideal length of a cover letter. We're talking maybe 200, 300 words. I do think they're
Okay.
important. They do get read by at least some people. So that means if you can just optimize your application for those few people without spending too much time and energy, why not, right? So a
Okay.
good cover letter talks about initially the biggest business problems they're trying to solve. So, for example, if we take a look at the earlier, the key problem they're trying to solve is that these audits are finding issues that are critical to their business, or that their reporting systems are not proper. They're not giving executives the insights that they should be giving. So, you start your opening saying that this is something that I can fix, that I can solve, and then you share 3 stories related to that. If you are really new to the industry, you don't have any stories related to what you're trying to do, talk about your soft skills in this point. So you can say something like, I am a very quick learner. I have a 3.8 GPA. I have been commended by my teachers for my studiousness, and in order to equip myself to be able to contribute to the professional environment, I've taken such and such courses on Udemy outside of my actual studies. You can say something like that. You can talk about projects that you've led that are not related to your degree, like stuff that you do in your clubs and societies and that kind of thing. And then you end basically by talking about how you're a nice person to work with, because the people, this is not really for applicant tracking systems, this is uniquely for human readers. So just saying something like, look, I know how to collaborate, I'm a good team player, but without saying that, you actually have to show it. You have to say something like, look, in the past I've had to collaborate with different student groups, I've had to collaborate with really awful teachers like Hasham, and I've made it work.
I pride myself on that. Yeah.
All right, settle down. And that's basically what you want to conclude with, because this is a human being that's reading your resume, and you kind of want to hint that you're a fun person, that you're a nice person to work with, without being corny or just saying, okay, I'm great, like work with me.
What would be an example of corny, since we're talking about that?
Like, have you ever heard the Govinda song, like, "Meri shirt bhi sexy, meri pant bhi sexy, ye rumal bhi sexy hai"?
Unfortunately, yes.
So many job seekers actually do that. They're like, I'm a great team player, I'm a great manager, I'm a great, follower, blah, blah, blah. And like, that's exactly what Govinda's doing. And what happens to him at the end of the song? He gets the living daylights beaten out of him by Karishma Kapoor. Okay,
I wasn't aware of that, but
yeah,
you go, girl. Yeah,
he gets slapped because he's like literally harassing her, and nobody cares if you think that you're a great manager or a great people person or a great team leader. Nobody cares what you think. What they care is that you can show that you've utilized those soft skills productively in the past. And if you want like an A to Z, this may sound like, oh my God, how am I going to start? Like, this is really short and I have to convey a lot of stuff and I don't even know where to start. I do have a blog. Hasham will share the link with you. It talks about how to write the complete cover letter from A to Z.
Okay.
Here's
Okay.
a portion specifically for new graduates, so do check it out. I
Mm-hmm.
think that'll help you out a lot. And then in terms
Mm-hmm.
of customizing it, you don't want to customize it too much. Probably
Mm-hmm.
just the first portion, and just check to see if your 3 stories basically make sense with the job. You could even have up
Mm-hmm.
to 5 and just decide to showcase the 3 most relevant for the job.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just have kind of like a master cover letter that you're cutting down. Do not spend more than 2 minutes editing your cover letter. So
Mm.
you need to have a cover letter that basically works for most of the jobs that you're applying for, assuming that
Okay.
you're really focused and you're not applying to like all these random jobs.
And since everything is shifting online these days, so by cover letter, we actually mean, do these things also stand true and work for cover emails?
They do, yeah. You can copy and paste them in. If you so back in the day, a cover letter would literally cover your resume. So you would have
Mm.
like, if this is your resume, you would staple your cover letter to the top, you'd put it in an envelope, and you would mail it.
Yeah.
So the first thing the human being is reading is your cover, and they're like, okay, these are your 3 main strengths. I am so interested. I want to read more. And then they would read your resume. However, that's not the case anymore. They're reading
Yeah.
your resume first, and then if they are interested in you, they're reading your cover letter. That's why I think the cover letter is a great way for you to showcase your softer skills, that you have those collaboration skills, not like Govinda, but like really properly. And if it's a cover email, they're going to be reading that first. So it should be even shorter if it's a cover email. A good example of a cover email should be like 150 words max.
Yeah.
I'll show you mine, actually, one that I used.
And we've actually talked about this in class, why emails need to be shorter than, traditional letters, because usually people are reading them these days on even mobile devices. And plus, a person's attention span online is much less than that of, traditional reading paper. When you're reading something on paper, plus the mobile factor, or the mobile device factor, as Americans call it. So yeah, is that why they need to shorten it down even further?
I would say it's because of when they're reading it. So if they're reading your resume and they really like you, and you have a longer cover letter, they already really like you, so they're going to be invested in reading your cover letter. However, if it's a cover email, it's the first thing they're seeing. They haven't been impressed with the accomplishments in your resume yet. So they're probably not going to be reading it with as much care.
Yeah. So what I would probably do is gloss over it and see if, something stands out. And if it does within the first 5 seconds, then I might be inclined to reading it further.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
So when you know that there's a human being reading your resume, bold the most important parts, just like we've done here. Help them really understand that, okay, even if you're just skimming, even if you're just taking 6 seconds to go through this email or this cover letter, I'm going to be very respectful of your time. I know you're very busy. I know you have a lot of papers to grade and make remarks, like snarky little remarks on that. Oh my God, is this your best shot? This is such a crappy piece of writing. I know you need a lot of time to do that, and so you're only going to spend 6 seconds reading my email. Therefore, I'm going to be respectful and really bold the most important points. If you want to read more, if this captures your interest, go ahead and read the whole thing and read my resume as well.
Okay. All right.
Okay, let's quickly cover LinkedIn. I also have a LinkedIn resource that you should look at. A lot of people will just copy and paste information from their resumes on here, but there's a lot more space here than there is on your resume. So your resume ideally should only be like about a page. But with LinkedIn, each field you get 2,000 characters, right?
Right.
So you can really add a lot more detail and take advantage of that to add more keywords like these and add them to your summary as well. Additionally, if you take a look at your LinkedIn, let me just click a random person. The hook is really important, right? Like you don't see the entire thing that she's written unless you click see more. So if this stuff looks literally like everybody else's, then you're not going to be as inclined to actually read it. And this,
Mm.
she actually hasn't written anything, but I'll show you my profile shortly. I think this is a pretty nice hook because I specifically search for WordPress, web developer, Google Analytics, and it's the first thing that she has. And she says something very nice that she developed them for really, really big Fortune 100, like really big
100.
companies, Fortune
Yeah.
100s,
Yeah.
as well as
Yeah.
individual people like me. So I'm like, wow, you have the capability to serve these really big companies,
Mm.
but you also have the cultural capability to serve a really, small time person like me. So I think this is a really interesting hook, and I would definitely contact her if I had a need like that. The other thing that you
Okay.
want to really focus on is your headline. So if all you have in your headline is this, you're kind of wasting keyword space. Like if she had added
Mm.
here Google Analytics,
Mm-hmm.
bloggers with their web presence, blah, blah, blah. If she added more stuff here, she would be so clickable. At first glance, I don't see any difference between Slava and Carla. And
Okay.
there's no reason for me to click her versus her. Versus if she had that stuff, I would be more inclined to do so. So on your LinkedIn, the headline, if you can fill it with keywords like this,
Mm-hmm.
would be really, really good.
All right. And what other sections does someone need to focus on when writing there?
With your LinkedIn, you basically want to try to fill out as many sections as possible, but do understand that not all sections get the same visual real estate or the same real estate with LinkedIn's algorithms. So what you have in your headline is very important. When you have something in your headline and someone searches for that, LinkedIn's going to be like, ooh, let me show this person. So resume writer is something people might search for if they want to buy a resume writer services. So I have that. Same with interview coach. And then the next most important field on LinkedIn is actually your job title. So if there's any way for you to use the word software developer, software engineer, data analyst, whatever job that you're looking for in your actual experience section, like the job title, that'd be great. So how do you do that? For example, you can put data analyst internship, data analyst project, and you can put it in your experience section instead of the project section, because look where the project section is. It's all the way down here somewhere.
Yeah.
I can't even find it. Like it's way, way down. It's near publication somewhere. I don't have one. But like, I'm not going to scroll that far down. You can just use your experience section since it gets more real estate, and you can actually click read more and learn about that project.
So put whatever is critical at the top where everyone can see it and fill more space with it.
Yeah, that, and LinkedIn's algorithm is also going to look at this more than what you have in your projects.
All right. So is it really worth spending time building a LinkedIn profile? Does it really pay off? How often should somebody modify it or renew it or something?
I can't speak for the Pakistani market, but I have two former colleagues who are now in very senior positions, and they've used LinkedIn to recruit in their jobs and to find jobs for themselves. So one of them, he has, I want to say like 16, 17 years of experience. And he says that I can't really find jobs for me on Rosie. I usually can only find jobs for me on LinkedIn. So maybe not relevant to all of you since you guys are still quite young. But the long answer short, I don't know what the situation is for Pakistan.
Yeah.
If you are more experienced, it seems like LinkedIn is better.
I think the interactions that I've had with people, those who are into freelancing and have a very specialized service to offer, they have had great success with the LinkedIn, finding potential clients for exactly what they're looking for. So yeah, Rosie is more for like the local market, and that hasn't really worked very well for a lot of people that I know.
I actually don't really like Rosie as an employer either. I don't like the quality of candidates that come to me from that. I like using LinkedIn for recruiting, and also the university career offices and stuff like that.
All right. Okay. I do have questions about the formatting and font and all of these because I get asked these questions also. So,
Mhm.
what would be your advice to people who are just starting out, or somebody who's starting from scratch? What sort of a format should they use? Should they use a template and then modify it? What fonts should they go with?
You you have to understand that people that are reading your resume are like blind as fuck. Like they cannot see anything. Me, I have to be like, "ये क्या लिखा है?"
Did you just drop the F bomb? Okay,
You can
let's
edit that
continue.
out.
Sure, I can. Yeah.
I'm not just blind. I'm like blind AF. And no, I'm not. I'm
Right.
really not. This is like not even like
Right.
I could still read this. It's just
Just
that
for
like
style. Yeah.
it's not just for style. I do need them, but like I would really
Mm,
have to like go like this to read, and you
mm,
don't want people to
mm,
do that when they're looking at your resume. So I
mm,
really recommend a resume that's literally as plain as possible. And I'll show you my own resume just so
mm,
that you guys can see.
mm,
Uh, where are my resumes? Look how plain it is. It's literally black and white. It's just,
mm.
you know, it's nothing. There's no
Yeah.
color, nothing fancy.
Mm,
This is what you want in
mm,
your resume. You actually want the content to shine, not any
mm,
color, because no one's gonna like who's gonna be like, "Arey wow, bada color dala hai. Let me hire this person." Like literally no one's gonna do that. The only
right.
reason we added a little bit of color for this was because we wanted to highlight this guy.
Mm,
He really had a very unique situation where everybody he was competing against had so many internships and stuff, and he didn't. And we just wanted to
mm,
showcase the headline, so we did that. But I would
mm.
recommend no color if possible. I mean, look at me.
Okay.
And yeah, what is this? This is like Calibri size 10. It's like the
Mm,
perfect
mm,
font. Because the people who
mm,
are reading your resumes are going to be older and they are going to be looking
mm,
at screens and they are going to have screen fatigue. So make it easy
mm.
for them.
Right. So, in terms of fonts, I think we've talked about this. I can't remember regarding what, but I remember us having a conversation where we talked about how Times New Roman isn't considered the best font anymore to use on your documents.
Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
so when you have a Times New Roman font, I'll show you right here. These little things that hang off are called serifs.
Serifs. Yeah.
Yeah, and these fonts are called sans serif, meaning they don't
Yeah.
have that.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
print's kind of blurry, these serifs actually make the language a little harder to read. And if
Hmm.
you are kind of visually impaired, this is harder to read than this. Like if I zoom out this much, I can still see that this says workflow improvement. I can still see
Hmm.
that this says process improvement. But
Hmm.
this is kind of harder to read. I'm like, what does this say? You know? So
Hmm.
use a sans serif font like Calibri
Right.
or Arial.
Right. Right. So Comic Sans is not
Perfectly.
unacceptable.
It is
It
acceptable
is?
because it's sans
Okay.
serif, right? No, I'm just kidding. Don't please don't, please don't put your
Yeah, don't do that.
if you're a school teacher, maybe. I feel like this would be a very popular font with school
I
teachers.
I feel like that's a pot shot at me, but okay.
No, like a kindergarten teacher,
Oh, oh, okay.
you know. I feel like that's
Those
okay.
weirdos. Okay, sure, sure.
I know, right? Like bichare, like itne
Yeah.
hyper hote hain. They're always like so loud and full of energy. And it's like really, oh my god. As a rule, kindergarten teachers.
You clearly haven't seen a Pakistani kindergarten teacher
They're
then.
like
Okay.
dead inside.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're like cracking
Yeah.
the whip. Like
Yeah,
come here,
there's
4-year-olds.
literally like a quartz crystal inside of them making them work. It's nothing in there.
I went to school in Saudi Arabia and I had the most amazing kindergarten teacher. She literally would give us candy and balloons if we behaved. She was like the best
Oh.
teacher ever. Still remember
So
her.
sh- so she was giving you what, candy? And
I always took the balloons. I didn't want the candy. I was like,
okay. All right.
I'm on a low sugar diet. Like I know I'm 4.
Oh, Right. So that's what I was going to say next. Maybe she was fattening them up to later put them in a pot roast or something.
That was pretty fat. It's yeah, that's probably what she's trying to do. She's probably let me get that fat one.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys have all these links, and if you do you have any other questions?
So when somebody is starting out, what is the first step? Should they look at the job and, like you said, look at the job description and then start making their resume, or should it be the other way around? Should we start with a cover letter and then make a resume?
I think it's a lot easier to look at the job, make your resume, and then make your LinkedIn and then your cover letter. I mean, that's how it is for me. Because my cover letter actually is a lot shorter than this. It's maybe about half this length, and it's more of like a cover email where I'm like, if you need someone who can be a leader for your business in this specific space, these are my related accomplishments. And I share like 3, and then I share one interesting thing about me to make it sound like I'm a cool person to work with, because when you're a leader, you bring like that cultural value with you. So that's why I put that in.
Right. And we talk, sorry, yeah.
For people who are applying, well, I don't know, based on your comments that you just said, for people who are applying as teachers or in the nonprofit space, it's really important to show your passion as well, at least in the United States. But I think in Pakistan, it's just like any random zombie can get those jobs.
Well, you have to understand the entire, sort of context, cultural context, the history behind it, but we don't really have the time for that. Anyway, my question was, like you said, that don't be Govinda in your cover letter or email, right? So what I got from that was, don't throw around cliches that don't really mean anything. So do I need to quantify my accomplishments or my whatever I've achieved during my as a student in my cover letter as well, and showcase that somehow?
No, not because I think that's going to be very hard to do, and I think that's too high of a bar to measure yourself against. So just when you look at the job description, how can I prove to them, how can I make their mind feel at ease that I have development skills in Oracle, even if I don't have 3 to 5 years? How can you just put their mind at ease that I don't need to have 3 to 5 years? Maybe I did a very big project related to that. Maybe I studied this very, very extensively, that sort of thing. So rather than being like, oh, I'm an Oracle master or whatever, just prove that you are by saying, I took these related courses, I did this related project, I was able to solve this related problem, etc.
All right. And are GPAs at all important? Should they be highlighted?
I cannot answer that because in the United States it does differ. Like for engineers, you want to have at least a specific GPA. For other fields, you want to have another GPA. I wouldn't be able to answer that.
So as a rule of thumb, I was told this when I was studying, that if it is over 3, go ahead and mention it. If it is under 3, then maybe not so much.
Oh, I don't know, for like us, I went to engineering school here, and they told us like above 3.5, above 3.7. So yeah, sorry, Hasham.
So for us,
sorry for you.
Engineers, us exalted and superior beings. Yes, got you. Okay. All right. And quickly, if you could give my students a few interviewing tips also, since we have you. So I want to take
for that, you just want to follow my Instagram. There's a lot of really tough interview questions. It's career tips from CP. There's very difficult questions like, why should we hire you? And I break the exact formula for why we should hire you. And then there's also a character I do called Messica, and she tells you the wrong answer. There's also questions like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? How to answer that. There's actual frameworks too, and the captions have the sample answers. So please check
All
that
right.
out. That's
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, Fatma is also on Instagram. That's something that she's trying out, and she actually updates it very regularly. I see her posts almost every day, and they're
I'm
very
really
interesting.
famous, you guys, as you can see, with my 379 followers. So like,
Well,
kind of
that's
a
more
thing.
than mine. I have 59, so it's pretty good actually.
I'm really
But
famous. You know,
yeah,
people approach me all the time, like, "Do I know? Oh, you're Fatima. You post on Instagram." So I'm like, "Oh
there
yeah."
you go. Actually, she pulls, man. She pulls. So she has a huge Instagram following, and people inbox her for various reasons, mostly for their career to go in the right direction, I hope.
It's mostly Hasham sending me sad pictures of cats and dogs.
I'd probably send you pictures of me murdering a few cats, but
Yeah, so they're
yeah,
sad, right? They're like, "Oh, I'm being murdered."
the cat, the cat would be sad. Yes, yes, that's true. That's true.
Okay. Any other
Yeah.
useful and relevant questions?
Um, yeah, no, I think we have covered, and I don't really have anything at the top of my head right now. But if you would like to add something as a concluding remark, that'd be great.
Yeah, it can be really overwhelming to decide, like, what career path you want to choose, but nothing is forever. Making transitions is easier than ever in this, day and age, especially with the employment gap that a lot of people have had to take due to COVID. So if you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna get this job and it's not what I want to do forever, like, don't worry too much about it. There are solutions to every problem. Just do what feels right and don't stress too much about the future, because you're just going to
Yeah,
end up where you want to go.
you will find your path eventually.
And there's no perfect path. Like, you just put out
Mm.
your best and the best will come to you.
Very, very influencer-like of you, Fatma. Um,
That sounds like some Instagram
also,
BS, right? No, but it's true. I'm telling you,
yeah,
it's true.
right, right. What you seek is seeking you. Yeah, just need to add Rumi's name in front of that.
No, like, I'm not gonna BS you and be like, oh yeah, just take it easy. No, you have to work hard. You have to really try. You have to put out your actual best. And then in the
Mhm.
future, if you want to make a transition, it'll be a little bit challenging, but it won't be insurmountable. People do it all the time, and it's getting easier
Sure.
and easier every day.
Yeah. I mean, look at yourself. Yeah. Also, could you tell my students why writing courses are important and why they shouldn't fall asleep in class?
Yeah, because honestly, if you can't write, people who are going to be your boss are going to think you're an absolute moron, and they're not going to assign you the challenging stuff that's going to result in your promotions. If you can actually write well, even if you're a complete and utter idiot, kind of like Hasham, you'll still get ahead in life and people will still respect you. Communication is
Well, I
I
take I take
speaking
issue with
well.
the word kind of. You shouldn't have done that. You're too sweet.
Speaking well and writing well are really critical to your professional growth. And I honestly can, all of my success and everything as a business owner, I 100% attribute it to 3 classes: English, speech and debate, and algebra. So
Right, right. Well, maybe you had better teachers. So,
I did have amazing teachers, but that's specifically because I used to be a giant nerd and I would get all of the advanced placement classes and all honors
we,
classes, and then I would just be a giant nerd, and all the teachers actually wanted to teach us because we actually like cared.
yeah,
So
we can tell by the size of your glasses. Um, all right, and also, do you have any opportunities that my students could take advantage of? Do you have anything that they can apply to, or something that they can
No, but
do?
if you have any older
Yeah.
siblings or cousins that have experience in marketing, we are trying to
Mhm.
hire a marketing manager. You can go to smartreggroup.com/jobs.
Okay. Yeah.
Smartreggroup.com/jobs, and it'll be there, the link to apply. So
Right. Right.
only hiring experienced professionals at this time. So hopefully we
Mhm.
can work together in a couple years.
Mhm. Sure. And would you also let them know where they can go to actually get more tips, tricks, how to write it? They can follow you on Instagram, of course, and see your blog, which I will share with them.
I'll share all these
And
links. Uh-huh.
yeah. Also, what is your go-to source for research or information regarding writing and resume writing and all of that? How do you research?
And just what's happening with my clients, like what's working for
Mm-hmm.
them, what recruiters are
Mm-hmm.
telling them, what hiring managers are
Mm-hmm.
telling them.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I think,
Mm-hmm.
the best way to stay abreast, because there's so many conflicting pieces of advice in this industry. I don't usually use other sources. It's all primary research for me.
Okay. Oh, amazing. Okay, and have you produced any research-based document or something that
Yeah,
we could
actually,
take?
the cheat sheets that I put together, I ran them by more than 3,000 recruiters. So they actually said, okay, this is something we like to see. This is something we don't like to see. And I had to wade through
Mhm.
that. I had to assess when their advice was just self-serving and frankly nonsense versus when it was really good. And I do update these on a regular basis based on their
Okay. All right. All right. So that's about it. This was a resume, career advice superstar, influencer slash, I don't know, many
Instagram
things.
power.
Sorry, what?
Instagram world power.
Yeah. Instagram wannabe. Fatma Mirza right there for you. Please check out her blog, her website, and her Instagram for pearls of various kind and some wisdom also. Thank you so much, Fatma. Fatma lives in California, so it's like 10:30 in the night and way past her bedtime.
Yeah, it's
Because
true.
she is 1.5 billion years old and likes to sleep most of the day, through most of the day. So thank you for taking out time and doing this pro bono.
My
Yeah.
pleasure. It would be funny if I just took out my teeth, like my dentures, like, all right, kids, time for me to sleep.
Could you ever reach to a punchline ever without?
All right, bye.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna end it.
you could have been a really good stand-up comedian, but you just laugh at your own jokes, and we would never hear
It's
the end.
hilarious. I am amazing. I am so good at entertaining myself. I don't need anybody else. But अपने stupid बात पे हंसते रहती हूँ. That's it. The end. I'm gonna stop the
हंसती रहती
recording.
हूँ. Let me give you an Urdu lesson जाते जाते.
Let's just stop this.
Okay. Thank
The
you so
end.
much for doing this, Fatma. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye. Bye.